blood sample matched that of the semen found on the victims. Over the course of the decades that have followed, the prevalence and quality of DNA testing—
oh, what the fuck? It's not even real blood. God damn it, I was worried.
—has steadily risen. Where once a blood sample the size of a quarter was needed to render a reliable profile, now—
like, I literally thought it was real blood.
remarkably scant amounts of matter can be used to confirm or exclude the culpability of an individual with increasingly staggering degrees of certainty. But in the year of 1997, the technology was not quite where it needed to be to resolve the disappearance of 8-year-old Kirsten Hatfield. On the night of May 13th, Kirsten was put to bed by her mother in their home on Jet Drive, Midwest City, Oklahoma. The next morning, she had vanished. Her bedroom window was open and small bloodstains were found on the sill, as well as on the 6-foot cyclone fence in the backyard, where Kirsten's torn underwear was discovered, also stained in blood. The blood samples were used to create a DNA profile, but unfortunately, no suspects at the time of the investigation were a match, and the case went cold. In addition to the devastating grief that must come with losing a child, the ambiguity around the culprit's identity would burden Kirsten's parents with yet more anguish in the form of suspicion. Due to the absence of a match from any acquaintance suspect, and skepticism that a girl of Kirsten's age could have been taken in such a seemingly violent manner without making enough noise to alert anyone, suspicion that someone in her family played a role in her disappearance circulated the ranks of Oklahoma law enforcement. For the nearly 2 decades Kirsten's case remained totally cold. Midwest City Police reopened the case in 2014 based on a tip. In the process of the new investigation, the blood samples were retested by the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation to create a new and substantially more precise DNA profile. Investigators also re-interviewed multiple persons of interest that lived in the neighborhood on the night of Kirsten's disappearance. Among them was 56-year-old Anthony Joseph Palma. Palma lived just 2 doors down from the Hatfield residence. Though it wasn't known at the time of the original investigation, he also had a slew of sexual assaults in his past. Wanting to appear helpful and avoid suspicion, Palma readily made himself available to investigators and agreed to provide them with a DNA swab without objection. The subsequent test resulted in a match with a certainty of 263 sextillion to 1. It likely goes without saying that physical evidence of this magnitude is essentially insurmountable, with the odds that the blood found on Kirsten's windowsill and on her torn underwear could belong to anyone other than Palma being incomprehensibly minute, and an innocent explanation for Palma's blood appearing in those places being comparably outside the realm of conceivability. One might wonder why police need to spend time on an interrogation in these sorts of cases. But aside from an outright confession making the state's job easier, the goals behind police questioning—
Yeah, I was about to say video over again. Dude, actually, after this guy always does this shit, dude, where he like literally will spend the first 5 minutes just locking you in, and then he trolls you in the end, and you're like, what the fuck? It's insane. Okay? He did this last time. He did this fucking last time where we were just like, all convinced of the sussy baka. The sussiness of the baka. And then he was just like, April Fools. And was just fucking kidding. I was just doing a fucking April Fools for you. So I don't know. Let's just keep going.
Vary beyond the most
I don't know anything about this case, so please don't spoil it, please.
Forward aim of securing a conviction. Due to the morbid circumstances surrounding Kirsten Hatfield's disappearance, her family had long given up on the prospect of her safe return. They had, however, longed for Kirsten to one day be afforded the dignity of a proper burial. To this end, detectives reasoned that if they could bring Palma to terms with the severity of the evidence against him and the futility of maintaining his innocence, perhaps, even if for no other reason than selfishly attaining a small sense of redemption, he would grant the Hatfields that tiny morsel of solace.
I run on nicotine and caffeine.
We're the same age, and I tell you, anymore, I drink a lot of water. I had some stomach issues, and the doctor says drink water. It really helps with the indigestion real bad. It's just chewing, but I won't give it up. But if I can sleep through the night or get about 4 or 5 hours without having to get up and pee.
Yeah.
About 6 o'clock.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Bro, speak up, motherfucker. What is this shit?
That's me.
It may seem gratuitous to include the portion of this footage that simply features one of the detectives discussing his indigestion issues with the suspect. However, it is actually noteworthy. In the read technique, the most widely subscribed school of interrogation, investigators are encouraged to spend a portion of time building rapport with the suspect before even discussing the case at hand, let alone confronting them. It's advised that the investigator attempts to find commonalities with the suspect to instill a sense of trust.
Buterol, sulfate, and something.
Okay. He's going to be nice to you anyway. Well, I know you said no, but I was still guilty drinking.
It's a good thing both the murderers and the detectives oftentimes are demonstrate hog-like tendencies and will have like similar medical conditions, so they can vibe off of indigestion. You know what I'm saying? Oh, this is called the Pepto-Bismol technique. This is called the Pepto-Bismol technique.
Order somebody and I'm offering. Wade and them have a little advantage over me, Tony. They've met you before, and I want to I thank you for coming down here to talk to them.
Well, you know, as a state employee, you know, it's something we have to do.
Well,
We have to abide by all
right. Well, we appreciate
law
it.
enforcement and all that.
And here's where we're kind of bad. We're still looking at the Hurston Hatfield thing, and we're going back and we're talking to a lot of people. And I know over the years,
You weren't there the first time they came down, were you?
you know,
No, I was with Miller the last time we came to talk to you about the other deal.
you over 17 years, I know in my life, I've changed a lot. And so we wanted to talk to you about if you can kind of tell me 17 years ago how your life was, how that neighborhood was.
In the lead up to this question, the detective is attempting to lay some potential minimizations of Palma's crime. 17 years is a long time. I know I've changed a lot over that time. The idea being, when it comes time to go for a confession,
I'm sorry. I'm literally trying. I ran the ad already, and I'm literally trying to regulate the audio. It's not my fault. Okay? There's, like, he didn't regulate it. Like, I know.
Palma might feel as if he has permission to partially excuse his actions. I was a different person then. It may be slightly too soon to even allude to Palma's potential culpability. In the early stages of an interrogation, the usual protocol is to take more of an information-gathering approach, establishing the suspect's baseline of behavior for comparison later on. Still, it will be some time before the first direct confrontation, and Palma certainly begins becoming more talkative.
What was going on?
Get a compressor extension? What else, dude? What else you want, dude? God damn, bro. Like, chatters are such fucking babies, dude. Jesus Christ. Just fucking lower the audio on your own. How about that?
In that neighborhood. I know I've read some of the reports that from the interviews before, and how
Edit the
it
video.
appears to me that they call you Uncle Tony around there because you care about the kids. You were feeding some of the kids.
Yeah.
And
Basically, when I
that nature.
lived there was a bunch of older people. That was like not no retirement place, but most of the people in that area were old retirees.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you know, I like doing stuff all the time. You know, I was always outside, and if somebody's working on their vehicle, got to go be busybody, hey, you know, and help them. Or somebody's washing machine was broke down. And older people, you know, they can't. Older people,
Right.
you know, can't do stuff. And I've always been mechanically inclined, you know, where I could figure stuff out, you know,
Right.
or help them move this, or, you know, just, I've always been, I don't know about friendly, but neighborly.
Right. Right.
And that being my first home,
Right.
you know, I tried to make it where that neighborhood was my home.
Yeah. Well, did you help any of the kids over there?
Well, when
Feed them pizza?
yeah, there's always, that's
You're
my
in the
pet.
Kool-Aid house?
Well, I don't know about Kool-Aid. That's always been my pet peeve, is I grew up hungry. You know, and there's a lot of kids hungry.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not where I'd go out of my way, hey, you hungry? But I mean, you see kids, you're over there eating something, and they're just,
Right.
you know, you see them draw it, here,
Right.
take it. I
Right.
can't stand that.
Yeah. As my partner, Lander said, we're still working on the Hatfield case, okay? And there's some things that we want to go back over with you. We try to be as thorough as we can be on cases like this, and I'd like to go back initially over some of what you've already talked to Detective Miller about in the past. I wasn't there. I'm kind of up to speed on some of it, but my understanding is when Kirsten disappeared, you were still living there
Yes.
at 1104, correct? Okay. Do you mind just initially kind of take us back to 1997 and go back over that, maybe that evening before and into that morning when all of it all kind of started blowing up, and just best you can tell us everything you remember. And take your time. I know we're going back some years.
Yeah, and I'm starting to get that old timer stuff. But really the only thing I can really remember is afterwards, you know, when, you know, 'cause it was just a typical day.
You remember anything unusual about that evening that stands out to you?
No, other than what I told them about, you know, seeing the white truck, you know, in front of the white Chevy truck in front of their yard.
Okay.
You know, no, I like I said, I didn't have anything to do with those people. Didn't know them at all. You know,
Okay.
it's not like I went, hey, yeah, you got little girls. No, it wasn't nothing like that.
Okay.
I was outside working on my yard. You know, either talking to the neighbors or kid would come by, Tony, can you fix my bike? You know, stuff like that.
You said you didn't know them. I'm assuming you're meaning Shannon and
Yeah.
Kirsten?
Yeah.
Or
And I couldn't even tell you how long they'd lived there.
Okay. I was going to actually ask you that. So you didn't know how long they'd been living there when this happened?
And I going to think they hadn't been there very long.
And tell me what you remember about that. Do you remember seeing them move in or anything?
No. No. I'm trying to remember. A friend of mine lived in that house. I can't remember what his damn name is, but he had a janitorial service,
Mm-hmm.
Janny King, and I'd visit with him. I helped him put the fence up around his house.
Had you ever been inside that house when that gentleman lived there, William?
Well, yeah.
I'm assuming you probably saw Shannon and Kirsten running around the neighborhood and so forth.
To tell you the truth, until that happened, I think I seen the kid one time. She was playing with Crystal that lived up the street, but I don't remember if it was in that time frame or what. I don't really know, because like I said, I didn't pay no attention.
If Palmer's innocence in this case was in any way possible, then the most suspicious behaviour from these last several minutes would be his consistent effort to distance himself from the Hatfield family as much as possible. He had a reputation as being a friendly neighbour, eager to help with repair jobs and who would sometimes give food to hungry children. There's nothing inherently sinister about any of this, in fact, quite the opposite, and having these traits would never make you the prime suspect in a child abduction absent any other evidence. But Palmer is adamant not just that he didn't have a close relationship with the Hatfields, but that he was barely aware of their existence, despite his neighbourly reputation.
Okay. Do you remember ever, like, giving food to Kirsten
Oh,
or
no.
talking to Kirsten?
No.
Was she ever at your house?
No.
Anything like that?
Again, just imagine you were innocent of any wrongdoing and you were asked if you had given food to a child. Would your reaction be this strong? Firm, forthright denials can actually be a good indicator of innocence, but they're expected in response to accusations rather than innocuous questions.
So there was never any time
No.
that Shannon asked for your help to
No.
fix this or that, or
No.
mow the yard for me, or... Okay.
Just tell you the truth, the only good, and I didn't even recognize her when y'all showed me the pictures of her.
Mhm.
That was the only time I could actually say, okay, that's, you know. I met her once afterwards, she was going up and down the street, and she was still looking for her kid, and I met her once, so I gave her some money so she'd have gas money so she could keep doing what she was doing.
Was this like in the days after, or
Yeah,
talking a long
days
time?
after.
Let me bounce back a little bit. We got off a little bit off track. I was kind of having you go back over what you remembered through the night, and I read over the FBI notes that they took when they talked to you. I guess there was some information about you hearing dogs barking.
Yeah, I had a dog in the backyard. His name was Dog. About 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, he went to raising hell. So I just, believe it or not, in my neighborhood, we still got skunks and possums and stuff like that, plus other dogs,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why that woke me up, but because I usually didn't wake up, and usually he's out inside anyway. But it woke me up, and he was barking at that back fence, at our back fence. But at the time, as you walk out my back door, I had an old apricot tree. So unless you went out there, you couldn't see. And I just hollered at him because, thinking it was another dog, because there was always, and traffic, there was human traffic back there. But usually it was other dogs, yeah. There was other dogs or cats, there was always animals through there. So I just, I really didn't think nothing about it. I just hollered at him, and he came in, and I went back to bed.
So you actually let him back into the
Yeah.
house?
Yeah.
So you opened, your back door, I'm assuming, and let him in? Did you go investigate?
No.
Did you look down the alley?
No.
Anything like that?
No, because usually in the past, whenever I did, that's what it was either another dog, or people use that alleyway, to get through. Why, I don't know, because I don't know where you'd be going other than from house to house, but there was always, not always, but there was traffic.
Okay. And speaking of the alleyway, did you have any kind of a gate or anything that went out to it? So you didn't have access to it through your backyard?
No.
I think that'd be ideal to be able to go out into the alley and you could back a trailer up, and it seems like everybody had a gate.
Well, the house next door to me didn't have a fence. So whenever I weed eated or, did whatever, because I always weed eated, 2 foot around from my fence, next door, and then that alleyway, which the alleyway was.
Because I read your statement, you said you saw your gate ajar. Which gate was that?
Gate ajar.
You didn't have a gate on the back or on the side? Did you have a gate on the side of the house?
Yeah, we got a gate. Well, it's a gate, but no, it wasn't ajar.
Okay. Anything else that night after you let Dog back in? Did anything else occur that you remember?
No, I went back to bed.
I don't know what the there has to be a twist to this, because so far there's literally no fucking twist at all. Like, I guess the twist is that, like, I don't know, that he's like being relatively compliant. Like, I don't understand. Is it a bit harsh? I don't think so.
No.
Okay. And then when did you first become aware of Kirsten was missing?
You know that I'm literally watching while also flipping fucking chicken tendies in the background, because that's what it takes, unfortunately, for someone to be able to stream for 10 hours in a row. So when you see that shit and you fucking turn around and criticize it or talk shit, I don't know what to tell you, because this is what I got. You can fuck off and go somewhere else. You know?
And all that's going on.
Well, the next day there was all that activity, and I asked the neighbor across the street what was going on. They said they couldn't find Kirsten, and I didn't think nothing about it, I went to work, and then I don't remember if she called me or I called over there or what, and they said they was wanting people back, you know, because they wanted to go to our houses and blah blah blah. So somebody had called me and said that we were wanted back at our house.
Okay.
So I came home.
Okay. And then what happened?
I just sat there.
Did any of our officers or the FBI or anybody come by?
It was the FBI, you know.
Okay.
They came in, took statements, you know, walked through the house, and you know, wanted to go in the backyard, and you know, because I had a shed back there. He wanted to look in the shed, and
Okay. So he did look through the house and look through the shed?
This is almost certainly a lie. In an earlier interview, Palma had told Detective Daryl Miller that an FBI agent had searched his house the day after Kirsten's disappearance. When Miller went to verify this, he found no records confirming any kind of police search on Palmer's house in 1997.
You probably don't remember who that was, I'm sure.
No.
Okay. And was he just asking you general questions about Kirsten, and did you know her, have you seen her, that kind of thing, or?
basically,
Did you write out a statement for him, or was it just a conversation?
I thought he brought up a statement.
Okay. Did they drug test back in them days? At your work?
Well, they always hung that over on us, you know, but we never had got UA.
Okay. So it was kind of the threat.
Yeah. There was some of them say, well,
You ever had any trouble with the law, Tony?
Oh, yeah.
Before?
Years ago, first degree burglary and assault and battery with a dangerous weapon. I think I told your partner that.
Really?
Back when I was a dumb kid.
How long ago was that?
I was, I think, fixed to turn 18.
Oh, so you were just a boy.
Yeah. And all about it, my girlfriend.
Where was that at?
Walters, Oklahoma.
Oh, okay, up in Cotton County.
Yep.
In the last 17 years, Tony, have you changed much?
Here, the narrative of past regret that we saw a quick preview of at the beginning of this interrogation begins in earnest. This is a form of the minimization technique, where the interrogator will try to downplay the severity of the suspect's crime. Although neither detective has directly accused Palmer of any crime at this point, they'll know he's certainly anticipating it. Their strategy is to give him time to come to terms with his actions through the prism of having done it as a former self, a different man than stands before them today, a sort of redemption by way of regret.
Is this how you were 17 years ago? Just a hard-working man?
Yeah, that's basically it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've changed older-wise, but no.
And I'm not the same person I was 17 years ago. I've matured a little bit. And
I wish I could say that.
life changes people, you know. As you get older, you start recognizing things that you could handle differently than what you...
It's always so funny. Like it's always so fucking funny when the way they minimize shit is like, you know, it's like he's trying to come to terms and he's trying to level with like a pedophile, and the way he does that is by being like, you know, I stole some cookies from a cookie jar one time, and I tell you what, I mean, it's crazy. I felt exactly the same way that you do. You know, that one time it's like, no, motherfucker, he just did a child assault, okay? You know, we all make mistakes. It's like, how, dude?
Change, you know, I can truly
But
say
that's
that.
the thing, we can't ever change it.
No, you can't change what happened, but sometimes you can make things better. I remember a few years ago, I went to my high school reunion, and I seen a kid that, honestly, I just tormented to death.
The detective now goes into an anecdote about making amends with a man he bullied as a teenager, and Palmer remains relatively reluctant to engage with the regret narrative, just letting the detective tell his story. This is fairly predictable, as he knows what he's done and why he's here. It's a rather tedious portion of the footage to watch, which is why we're footing through it. But do note that what they're doing here isn't as meandering and pointless as it may seem on the surface. The interrogation itself hasn't begun yet, and the detective won't have any expectation that Palmer will confess to the murder of of Kirsten Hatfield just because he's fessed up to being a bully in high school. All he's attempting to do is provide as much psychological cushioning as he can for Palmer's self-concept so that he might be more receptive to minimizations when his undeniable culpability in this crime is laid before him later on. He's just again establishing that your past doesn't define your present.
He still picks on me though, so he really hasn't changed his
But
ways.
see,
Once a bully, always a bully.
but see, like,
He asked for it.
next week he's gone fishing. The week before he was gone fishing.
You get to go fishing
Yeah.
for a week?
Don't
I call it
discourage him,
vacation.
because because when he's gone,
Do whatever you want to.
it's all right.
It's my therapy.
It's all right.
Actually, it is therapy. It's very good therapy.
It is, 'cause I'm like you. I work. I mean, that's all I ever known was to work. But now my wife doesn't understand that working is therapy too, especially.
Well, I've always suffered from depression back when I was a young kid. So, and that always seems like working, I guess, gets your mind off of whatever it is you're thinking about, or, you know, whatever. So that's all I do is work.
It gives you a sense of accomplishment too. That's one thing we really.
Especially when your folks tell you that you ain't worth a shit, you'll never amount to hell of beans and blah 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 and blah blah blah. You know.
I know.
My only, well, the only thing that really, and that's you're probably getting completely off the deal, but when I left Walters, when I got in trouble with Walters, I was going out with an angel. I mean,
Good woman, huh?
my biggest mistake.
The first time Palmer engages with the narrative of past regrets, he states that the biggest mistake of his life was ruining the relationship he was in when he was 18 years old as a result of his conviction. The sly implication being that anyone guilty of child murder would not have the former as their number one.
Yeah, I fucked up big time.
Did you
That's the only time I can really
Just
say
lose
that
your
I fucked up.
lose your temper?
Well, yeah, that's basically what had happened. You know, he was picking on her, and I had, like a dumb kid, had to go do something about it. You know.
Palmer appears to be attributing the motive behind his assault and battery charge in Walters, Oklahoma, to avenging his then-girlfriend's mistreatment by another man. The victim of the assault in question was his landlord at the time, a woman who would later testify at his trial that he was attempting to beat her unconscious with a soda bottle and rape her. Her teenage son was able to intervene and stop the attack.
Not necessarily a dumb kid. Sometimes man got to do.
Well, now, you know, there's other ways of doing stuff, but, and of course I've been drinking.
Right. That's not the best decision making
No.
conducive to great decision making.
Hey, to get back to what we're here about, I mean, you've been living there all these years since Kirsten went missing. I'm curious about your thoughts on what happened, who might be involved, that kind of thing.
I don't know, to tell you the truth. Like I said, I didn't know him. But one thing that's always bothered me, that she left, the mom, she went to Jones, I guess, with her dad or something like that. You could have got me off out of my house. I mean, I know, what if she comes back, or, you know, what if somebody makes a call, or, you know, something like that. There was no way I'd left that house. That's the only thing that bothers me.
Yeah. So you felt like she shouldn't have left, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever at any point over these years or back when it occurred have any knowledge of what happened or know who was involved?
No.
Were you in any way involved?
No. No.
So you're not responsible
No.
for Kirsten's disappearance?
No.
Didn't play any part in that?
No. Like I said, didn't know him. Didn't have, like I said, I just barely, you know, might have seen her once, twice, playing with the kids, but other than that, I didn't know him.
What, just out of curiosity, what do you think the motivation was of whoever did this? I mean, why would this have happened?
Well, then I couldn't have told you, but after, over the years, you know, and hearing the rumors and this and that and the other, it always boils down to drugs. You know, I heard that she was on meth and cocaine and all this other, and Dawn's wife was the same thing. You know, she said, yeah, she'd been over there.
This is called I couldn't have done it personally technique, followed by, you know, maybe it's the dad.
you know, that night, and they got lit up. So apparently she did get lit up because...
Listen, boys, I don't care that chatters are being fucking annoying. I'm back.
You know, if somebody did come in, I mean, wouldn't you have heard it? I don't know.
So
but I know
does that
some
mean
people...
that she left person home alone, you think? Or?
I don't know, I'm sure she did. But I don't know. Like I said, I didn't know. And I really didn't pay much.
If chatters being annoying deterred me from streaming, I would literally quit streaming. Like, I would have to quit streaming if chatters being annoying fucking stopped me. You know what I mean?
Much attention to Don and his wife. It's just...
where did they live? I'm pretty sure
kind of
that's
catty
all
corner
this.
for me.
Straight
Little White
across the
House.
street?
Not straight, just catty corner. A little White House, catty corner for me.
Okay.
And they had 2 or 3 kids, and I'd come home one day, I was rewarding myself. I did something, and I was stopped at Kentucky Fried Chicken, got me a family pack of chicken. I was going to go down. And the kids, whenever I walked up, they was just, the way they were eyeballing me, you know, like they hadn't ate nothing. I mean, they were really, if you'd have seen them, you'd have thought that too, because I mean, they were skinny. So I got me a piece of chicken, I was chewing on it, and they just, you want some chicken? Yeah. Is that all right if they can have this? Yeah. So I just gave them the whole damn thing.
From looking back over the history, I understood that Shannon's brother, I guess, stayed with you for a short time.
Aaron.
Yeah,
Aaron.
Tell us about that. How did that happen? And
he was in the neighborhood, you know, he's apparently looking for, you know, his niece. So I'm out there one day and he stops and he talks, you know anything, and blah, 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 you know, and we just got to talking, and, you know, he's living in a damn, you know, under a bridge, and dude, you know, I found out already that that night that he'd been locked up, you know, so he wasn't a suspect in my book.
Now, did you know Aaron at all before?
No.
So you'd never met him, never talked to him
No.
before either?
No.
Did he ever confide in you anything about the case or anything about
Just that
Shannon?
he couldn't clear his sister.
Chat, this is frozen rice that I microwaved and put in my and cooked with my curry sauce. This is curry chicken. That's what I'm eating. That's what I've been eating nonstop for the past month or so. There you go.
Those words will always, you know, I can't do it. The way
Microwavable
he
bags
said
of
it.
frozen rice.
I can't clear my sister.
And it's fucking delicious.
So he was suspicious of Shannon, huh? Did he ever give you any real factual information that would be beneficial to the case?
No, like I said, I'm here on my own free will. If I had any information, yeah, I'd give it to you. Because that'd be the same thing if something were to happen to my daughter. My God, yeah.
We've talked a lot about kind of the background. I want to kind of talk to you about some new information developed in this case, okay? As you know, Detective Miller got some buccal swabs from you a couple months back or whenever it was. There was a reason for that, okay? And we collected DNA samples from lots of people. But we had resubmitted some evidence from the case and got a DNA hit, okay? The reason those buccal swabs were being collected was we were trying to find the person responsible.
Motherfucker said, Masaman curry is boring white people food, dude. Yes. The famously white person food of Masaman curry.
Okay. We talked about, had you ever been in the backyard, had you ever been in the house, all those things, and you said you hadn't.
Not while they were there, no.
Okay. Well,
Sometimes, when a person is experiencing profound anxiety, they will release a small amount of gas from their upper digestive tract. If you pay very close attention in the seconds to come, you might be able to catch Palma exhibiting this symptom when he is faced with the first direct confrontation.
I don't believe you,
Oh,
Tony.
Oh.
I don't think you're telling the whole truth, okay? Your DNA is in the backyard the morning that she was discovered missing. okay, and on her window, and on the panties she'd been wearing the night before that were recovered in the backyard.
No, not me, because no.
Denial in the face of such staggering evidence may seem farcical, but from a standpoint of pure self-preservation, this is actually the correct move from where Palma is sitting at this moment. In the United States, investigators are permitted to lie to suspects about the evidence they have against them. It's a source of much controversy, but is not a factor in play here.
Yeah, that's the truth.
I find it far-fetched, but no. Because I don't know, I didn't know him.
And maybe you didn't know him, Tony, but we need
And I didn't have no business over there at all.
That may be also. What we need to talk about is what you were doing in that backyard that night and what happened. We need to get to the truth of
I
what
have
happened.
no idea what you're
Yes,
talking about.
in the United States,
Were you trying?
in the United States chats, cops can lie to you about the evidence that they have and be like, you're done. You never see that in movies? Like, they'll be like, you're done. The other witness saw everything. Chat lies to me all the time. Your friends ratted you out. It's over. Dude, honestly, like, please see yourself out of this community, okay? If you're backseating how I eat, that level of parasocial behavior is so fucking weird. Like, literally, just like, it's too much, man. It's too much. Please stop. Please just fucking shut the fuck up and keep it to yourself. Go backseat your mother, dude. God damn.
Trying to help Kirsten?
No. Like I said, I didn't know anything about them people at all. Nothing.
It's so weird.
Nothing. Never met them. Never said hi, bye, nothing.
Well, here's our problem with that, is how did your DNA get there then? You're going to have to explain this.
I
If
don't
you were
know
there,
how I do it.
if you were there, if you were there because you heard her yelling for help from your backyard, and you go over there to see because you knew that her mother was a meth head and that she was probably at home alone, and you went over there to help,
No.
and you went to the backyard to avoid a conflict with the mother, and you was just going to take care of this little girl because just like you, growing up, you didn't want her being treated that way.
Not me.
That's how understandable things become.
The detective should be applauded for his vivid imagination in crafting this scenario. This is an alternative question. Investigators will routinely offer a more palatable scenario for how a crime may have come to transpire, as people find it much easier psychologically to admit guilt if the admission is coupled with morally justifiable conditions. This isn't just because such conditions might lead the suspect to believe they'll be met with more leniency in the courts, but also because it preserves the quality of their self-concept and the way they think they'll be perceived by others. The approach will not prove to be effective on Palma, and this is understandable. There is nothing in the scenario he's being presented with that would explain his blood's presence on Kirsten's underwear, and he is rightly calculating that there is no circumstance that would lend moral justification to the abduction, presumably rape, and murder of an 8-year-old girl.
You know, I could
I think I'm going to do this for the first time in a long time. It's like fucking unbearable, dude.
understand that, but I don't understand how you're
Maybe
getting
you-
my DNA.
Maybe, well, how was your blood?
I have no idea.
Well,
Y'all are being fucking super weird. The moment I called it out, like, more people started chiming in to be like, I know you're like joking. You're like, oh, just chew 15 times? It's fucking annoying.
I wasn't there at all.
we weren't there either. All we have is this, the evidence that was collected.
Hmm.
I didn't collect it. It was collected 17 years ago, Tony. But it's there. And we have to deal with this. And you're saying you were never there.
No,
There's no reason it should be there.
no.
It's not helping your cause. What's going to help your cause is to explain to us how it's there.
I
Because the
don't
fact-
have a clue.
Your blood is in that backyard the morning that she's discovered missing, okay? This is your chance, Tony,
I understand
to
that, but
explain what happened. Maybe you didn't mean
no.
for whatever
I was
happened to
not
happen.
there.
You were there.
You were there. Was
There's
you
no
in
doubt
a
about
depression? Was that a period when you were going through a depression? And drinking and getting depressed, and you don't remember until later what actually
No.
occurred?
I don't even think I was drinking that night. Tell you the truth, I might have been, but I don't think so. And I was in bed. And
So
I'm
this
pretty
isn't
sure
the-
I don't sleepwalk.
This isn't a deal where you got drunk the night before and actually went through with some urges you had,
No,
whether you're attracted to little girls
No.
or whatever your
I've
thing
never
might
been
be.
attracted to little girls or little boys.
Good save. Covering all of his bases technique.
Well, once again, how is your blood there?
I don't know.
Do you not believe me when I tell you that we have your DNA?
No, I don't.
You don't believe me? This is our OSBI results. I kind of, no disrespect, I get the impression maybe you don't believe me when I told you what I told you. So I want to just bring you the copy directly from OSBI, and we've highlighted it here for you, okay? I just want you to understand that this isn't...
What the fuck does he know about this? Like, you might as well have a piece of paper on here that just says you're guilty. I don't think he knows how to process that information. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, it doesn't matter. I mean, he's guilty as fuck regardless, but... I just realized the difference in the size of the chairs. I don't know if that's a technique or not, but like, he's literally in a baby seat. It looks like they put him in a fucking child seat in the corner, and they're over here sitting on like adult seats.
You see those odds? Those odds, I can just tell you from my years of experience, I've never seen at that level.
You might need to hire an astrophysicist. You want to fucking make sense of those odds. My friend, you might need to be hiring yourself an astrophysicist who's got a PhD in an Italian school. Make sure you justify them odds. This is what is known as the dream technique.
Which means this is your DNA. Okay, this is your
I
blood,
don't.
Tony.
I
Okay.
don't know.
Here is, that's Kirsten's panties that her mom identified that she had on that night. And that's where your blood was found, as well as on her windowsill. So this isn't just a, and just so you'll know, we also located some blood on the fence picket, and it's still out for testing. But I suspect that there's a good chance that'll come back to you.
I can't explain it.
Tell me what happened. How did you get injured?
I'm trying to figure it out myself, what all this is about.
I mean, this motherfucker was like, I've literally never been around this family. I've been around every other family, especially children. Sus. Okay? Super sus. And then, having said that, though, this particular family, I've never been around. I just, you know, only, just kidding. I've only been around when they look hungry. And now, maybe I was bleeding when they looked hungry. Who knows?
I mean, you were in some way injured for your blood to be on her window and for your blood to be in her panties. What I want to know from you Was there some kind of a dispute between you and Kirsten?
I had no dealings with those people, didn't know nothing about them.
I believe
At
that.
all.
I believe that. But I also believe that this is your DNA on her window sill and your DNA on her panties in the backyard. Let me ask you this. Your wife told us that every year on Kirsten's anniversary that you're upset about it, that you go through a phase of being depressed and upset about it.
And the reason that is, it's on the news, and yeah, how do you feel about it? Well, yeah, I'm going to be upset. I mean, it's a missing child. Duh.
If you want to carry it to your grave and not do what's right, that's on you. But you need to think about what you're doing, because right now, these decisions...
They're actually doing a pretty good job, though. They already fucking caught him. They already have the evidence. They revealed the evidence that they have on him. And now all that's left is like for him to tell the family where the body is. It's not like they need... I mean, it's always better to have a confession, obviously, but it's a pretty solid. It seems like they're gonna get the shit out of him.
Think about how's my damn blood or meat, because I was not there. And I know in that night I was in my same mind. Did I read that the other day?
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Well, it's pretty clear.
Yeah.
You know how big sextillion is?
Huh?
No such thing.
Huh?
No such thing.
That's not a sexy number. Not for you, anyways.
Yeah, it's too big. I mean, you can line people up from planet Earth all the way to the moon. You remember me, don't you? I mean,
Loki, Oklahoma cops are doing a solid job right now, which is actually surprising. I was not expecting that. This motherfucker peek at the camera?
No such thing. Too big.
yeah, it's too big. I mean, you can line people up from planet Earth all the way to the moon.
Oh my God. Bro, he literally looked at the camera. Look at this. This is the "you're fucked" technique, dude. He's just like, it doesn't matter no more. I'll do a signature move here.
You remember me, don't you? I mean, I've been working on this case for 2 years. Here, look at me real quick. I've been working on this for 2 years. I've got a little girl that's about her age, Kirsten's age at the time. And this case is all I think. This case has taken over me, and
I can imagine.
it's all I think about, you know. And I told you earlier on, you know, all the cases I work is crimes against children cases. So my whole life, I go home, I have kids. I come to work, I deal with kids.
The fucking dude is like, unironically, surprisingly chill for like someone who is mega fucked. You know what I mean? Like, he still hasn't like lost the plot, behaved in a way that is like shown obvious guilt.
You know, and you seem like you said in our past, you know, conversations we've had, all you do is you care about kids. You take care of the neighborhood kids, and you got a heart just like me.
Understand that.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to figure out, Tony, is how is your blood, your DNA, get on it? And you were there when I took your sample from you, right? We had an unknown male profile DNA on her panties and on her windowsill.
It don't make no sense to me.
All I'm concerned about is where's she at, Tony?
I'm sure.
Where's she at? Help me find her. I mean, we got pictures of windowsills and the windowsill that day, you know? We can go right down the line with all these pictures, you know? You say, oh, I mean, everything, of course, today it's a totally different ballgame. There'd be 500 pictures of a windowsill. And it's all there. I mean...
Did you figure out the print?
Yeah, those are kids' prints there.
That's a vibe failure. Bro, this dude keeps burping, dude. It's so funny. The burp actually is not a failure of a vibe check. Contrary to popular opinion, being over the top gassy can either mean you're in a place of such profound comfort because of how innocent you are that you don't mind flatulating or burping, or you are having an unfortunate gastric reaction to the overwhelming guilt and anxiety that you feel. I really shouldn't be using this voice when I talk about this shit. I just realized, because, like, I'm just kidding. That's like, I just totally made that up. And that's not like a real thing at all. But it sounds way more legitimate when I say it like that.
I was not there the day before, that day, next day. I know.
But we need to figure this out.
Yeah, you do.
But you're my key. You're the only one that can help me, Tony.
Cops never have
I want you
work
to help.
indoors.
If I could, I would, because it's making me look real bad.
Well, yeah. But I'm not going to hear, I'm not going to browbeat you, I'm not going to be mean or anything, but I need the truth. I
understand. I need the truth, too.
I need to find her. I need to find Kirsten. Help me find her.
I can't help you.
Was there somebody else involved?
I can't help you on that either. No, I didn't help anybody or help myself take this girl.
Very convincing. Wow.
And how do you explain the blood?
I don't. Well, I can't.
You gotta, let me see your arm. You have a scar on your arm. What happened there?
I was picking up a toilet bowl and it cracked
When was that?
last year.
Hey, I don't mean to be rude. I'm Major David Huff.
Hi.
I'm pretty much these guys' boss. The guys have been out there kind of talking to me about the interview.
And I'm here to tell you, you're fucked.
What do you say? Let's take a break for just a minute. I don't want you getting upset at us. We really are trying to get to the truth, but I don't want you getting upset with us. Take a drink of water. We'll just relax for a minute, okay? We'll just take a deep breath. All right.
Okay, this dude is literally, I mean, I know he's doing good cop, bad cop. But I am still shocked that a cop was even able to fake being good to this degree.
I
Can I
know.
go outside and smoke a cigarette?
Okay, he's now, oh, he's
Yeah,
out of pocket.
With us. You're gonna have to go with us, though, okay?
Okay, yeah, I understand.
Oh my
Pausing an
God.
interrogation at this point is a rare move. The standard practice is to keep pressure on until the suspect offers something investigators can work with, embracing the alternative question, for instance, or even merely walking back the extent of previous assertions. In this instance, however, Major Huff's
Are you fucking kidding me?
decision to break from protocol is understandable. The interrogation has now been going on for over an hour. The detectives have put their best evidence in front of Palma and continuously emphasized its magnitude, but Palma has stubbornly maintained his innocence. If the only goal was securing a conviction, they would have most likely charged him and let the evidence speak for itself in court at this point, but they are genuinely determined to recover Kirsten's remains. Their wager is if they afford Palma some time to relax as much as possible, then perhaps he will be able to better process the circumstances, reconcile to his fate, and try to win as much favour as he can by giving them the information they need.
They can't allow Palma to smoke in the area outside due to the presence of juveniles. So I'll have to let him smoke in the interrogation room?
I can't explain this.
At first I was thinking like, what? Fucking smoking in front of kids is wrong? And then I realized like, oh no, because he's a fucking rapist. That's why.
And the only thing that I'm thinking right now is, yeah, I'm being set up because we want to close this case. That's the only thing that's coming in my head right now. Seriously.
Okay. Well, I understand what you're saying. I'm going to be honest with you. When this first stuff, the stuff first came out, the DNA, I want you to understand how it works, because not everybody does this, so it wouldn't be uncommon for you not to know. The normal person that doesn't do police work doesn't know. The DNA that we got off of these panties, that was taken all the way back when it happened, okay? And it was put into a container where we could keep it indefinitely, all right? It's been there ever since the FBI took it. When they were helping us, it was there, okay? We had what was called an unknown DNA sample. We knew that it was human DNA, we can tell that.
That's true.
Oh yeah, right. We knew that it was human DNA, okay?
Whenever stories like this come out, I'm just excited that there wasn't like a black person in the vicinity. Because literally half of the fucking, I mean, more than half of the fucking exonerations on DNA are straight up examples like this story, where it's just like an unsolved crime, but there's like a black male in the vicinity of the crime, and they're just like, yeah, you did it, fuck you. Especially if he has like a record.
And we knew it was human DNA from a male. We can know that. What we don't know, when we got it back then, we didn't know the name attached to it. We didn't know whose DNA that was, okay? When the FBI and Detective Miller went out and got those swabs, okay, they got them from a bunch of people, all right? You being one of them. Then it was tested against a sample that was taken off the windowsill and off of the panties, which, by the way, I don't know if they told you this or not, but also has Kirsten's DNA on it. Because little kids, they do a little pee-pee in their pants and skid marks. So her DNA's on it, your DNA's on it, and it's also on the windowsill. That was all done way back when this all happened. It's just now that the DNA results have come back. And I don't know if they told you this. You seem like an intelligent man. So to help you comprehend when we're talking about when we say we know this to be a fact, the number sextillion, what this is saying, if you take a 1 and you put 21 zeros behind it,
Yeah,
it's yours. Anybody in the world, any scientist is going to say that that is your blood. Now, obviously, when we have a case like this, we're not going to, Mr. Palmer, we're not going to lay out everything that we know and everything we have. That's just not the way it works. It'd be counterproductive. We're not going to do it. There's more than this, but we want to try to get you to digest one thing at a time. Now, having said that, do we know all the circumstances?
This motherfucker needs digestion, that's for sure. Got him. Also, digest the ad at the top of the hour, chat. The sad reality is that I won't see what your reactions are because I've excommunicated you. Because you guys are being real fucking weird, some of you, about my eating habits. But that doesn't change the reality that it's top of the hour every hour and it's time for a 60-second ad break. And if you no longer want to see said ads, all you need to do is subscribe. You can do it for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Or you can use an ad block, or you can use a VPN. Here it is.
Circumstances surrounding what happened that night, we don't. Only God, the person who did it, and Kirsten probably know that. But I'm going to tell you this. We do know that Kirsten was wearing those that night. We do know that your blood's on there and her DNA's on there. And that is just an absolute fact.
Right, yeah, I understand that.
This is what I think. I think that you're not an evil person. I don't think you're an evil person. I've heard about your work history. I know all that stuff. I know you're a dependable person, a hardworking man. I think on this one night, this one time, for whatever reason, some demon inside you made a mistake.
Okay, so here's the thing. I know he's doing it on purpose. Like, he has to fucking lure him in with a false sense of comfort. But goddamn, dude, that's a vibe check too that he just failed. Doesn't that kind of feel fucked up? And also, on top of that, like, if you're the criminal in that situation, like, wouldn't you be like, yeah, that's crazy that this guy's like very clearly trying to get something out of me? Because like no one would say that I'm simultaneously guilty of this heinous action while also maintaining the position that I'm a good person who like accidentally did some wrong.
The fact is there. Here's how we look at it. You know, I'm about to retire. You know, I know he told you he's got a young daughter. We want to know where this baby's at. We want to know where she's at.
Sure. No, I can't help you.
This is called I'm about to retire technique. Come on, just give it up, bud.
I don't understand any of this.
Tony, we need your help.
You have another one? I do. I smoke 3 packs a day. Unfortunately for me. Hey, if I could help you, I would help you.
Jesus Christ, he's just fucking blowing through bogues, dude. 3 packs a day is... Sheesh, that's a lot. That is a lot of cigarettes, dude.
Well, I don't like sitting in this situation.
I don't like
This don't look good for me at all.
No. And I've done research on, you know, what happened when you was in Walters and stuff like that, and I've listened to part of the interview, you know, here this morning, and is there a chance that maybe you blacked out and did it? That you went over there and did something? You said something about you don't think you sleepwalk.
No. I'm just going through scenarios.
Okay, I mean.
And that was kind of being sarcastic.
Well, Detective Miller brings up a good point. I mean, from what we've read from the report that happened there in Walters, that was a pretty horrific deal that happened.
Yeah.
And it kind of shows that it's somebody that can lose it.
Yeah, I was
For whatever.
a kid that was drunk. And I still pay for that. That'll never go away.
I still think that one of the greatest counters of all time was when Jody Arias said, I couldn't have done this murder. I've literally never even hurt a spider. To this day, I've yet to see someone that is as like delusional as her try to get away from a credible murder accusation.
Well, what it comes down to is this. You know, we've had a lot of people in this room and interviewed a lot of people about stuff similar to this, unfortunately. And there's two kinds of people we deal with. There's the people that, when we present the evidence that we've got, and they know that they've been found out, they stand up and take some type of responsibility and move on, or they deny it. And to me, that's the folks that are really evil. And I just didn't get the feeling that that was you. But I guess I could be wrong. It wouldn't be the first time.
I can't explain it. And I'm still sitting here thinking, April's Fool, y'all come up with April Fool. 'Cause that's...
No, not something this serious.
No, there's no April Fool.
Where do you think, if someone was to, the person that did do this, where would they take her and dump her at?
In a last-ditch effort to find Kirsten's remains, Detective Miller tries to elicit a confession by way of a third-person account. You may not have done it, but where do you think the person who did would have dumped the body? It's a long shot to be sure, but not an approach without any precedent of success. Prolific serial killer Ted Bundy, for instance, first began divulging details of his crimes speaking in the third person, at length, while still maintaining his innocence.
If they would.
The difference between this guy and Ted Bundy is that, like, I mean, it might work, but I feel like Ted Bundy wanted to leak it, right? I don't know why I'm asking questions like, how am I going to see your responses? Damn, I fucking missed chat, dude. All right, I'm going to bring chat back. What the fuck? Uh-oh. Oh, shit. That was weird. Did it work? Can I write in the chat? I don't know if I wrote in the chat. It says you're sending messages too quickly. Chat, stop typing yo. Wait, let me see if I can do it. I can't even fucking time people. Oh god, Chatterino's so broken, dude. I fucking hate Chatterino so much. I mean, I love it. Obviously, I use it, but it's also so bad. Yep, there it is. Okay, it worked. Dude, oh my god. It's like having chat is like actually having 40,000 children. There's a fixed version. There's a fixed release I can give you later if you want. Yes, Aiden, that'd be fucking sick. Be fucking sick, bruv. Boy, Aiden. That'd be fucking tits, yeah? Never mind, you're not getting it. Oi, you fucking wanker.
Couldn't tell you. I mean, I watch all the cop shows and stuff like that, or what I do watch, and there's no telling.
People change, Tony. People change.
God save the fucking queen,
Tell me
yeah?
your home life, how you grew up. I grew up with a single mom that raised 9 kids by herself. And I'm about the only one out of my family that's graduated school that has a successful job.
Oh,
You know, people tell me you can't do that. You're a piece of crap.
yeah, and I showed them that, no. But
Right.
it's not about anything like that. I was not sexually molested or abused. I was hated, but I found good in this. You know, he taught me some shit, and that's helped me, you know, go through my life. I know some stuff. I know carpentry, I know mechanics, you know. I
Okay.
cuss him to this day because he hated me.
Yeah.
But
Jack of all trades.
that didn't turn me into a monster.
Yes, you
I
want
Because
to
I was
caught.
hated.
That Bundy wanted to get caught? Yeah, he wanted the media to know his
I
crimes.
think this is
That's what I
just one
thought.
time something happened and it went a little too far and something had to, you know.
Something went a little too far. This might perfectly encapsulate why all 4 investigators and their varied range of strategies have been utterly fruitless throughout this interrogation. If the death of an 8-year-old who you had no prior connection to was the result of something going a little too far, then what exactly was that something? Child murder is widely and rightly regarded as one of the most heinous crimes a human being can commit, made worse only if said murder is sexually motivated, and one of the most fundamental cornerstones of obtaining a confession is being able to lead a subject to believe that if they own the identity of a person who has committed the act in question, then they don't have to simultaneously relinquish their current identity of being a good person, or at least not a fundamentally terrible one. The investigators have utilized minimizations, alternative questions, rapport building, and feigned understanding. They've put the pressure on. They've taken the pressure off. They've appealed to Palmer's hope of redemption, and they've stressed his situation's futility, all to no avail. Perhaps one or more of these approaches may have worked if Palmer stood accused of some sort of crime of passion. If he had murdered his spouse, for instance, then maybe he could have been talked into believing that if he embraced a particular version of events, he could
Wait, that's literally what I said. The fucking narrators say the exact same shit, which is that, like, his crime is so fucking heinous that, like, you can't just be like, oh, oops, I sneezed and then, like, you know, raped and murdered a fucking 8-year-old. So they can't do that.
hold on to the self-image of something short of a monster. That's something we'll never know. What we do know, and what the investigators are soon going to finally resign themselves to, is that there's no version of events or hypothetical motivations that will let Anthony Palmer give himself permission.
Dude, I'm literally a detective. I'm literally a fucking detective now. Possibly one of the beast. Call me Detective Hassan.
To own this particular crime. No matter how objectively, astronomically ironclad the evidence is that he's guilty of it, he is not capable of crossing that last psychological barrier of owning that and
I'm the next
accepting what
fucking
that
Jim
says
Smith.
about him.
Hey, do you want to take a break? Give him some.
Pretty sure you pre-watch all these things? Yeah. Considering that I'm live for 10 hours during the day, and there is 10 hours of videos that I watch, when do you suggest I pre-watch all of the videos? In the other 10 hours of the day? Do you think I do not sleep? Do you think I, for 10 hours, watch all the videos, take notes on, like, where to say shit, and that takes, like, 10 fucking hours of my day. And then, finally, I, when the morning comes around, I've only had 2 hours of sleep or 4 hours of sleep. Someone said, You watch them at 2x speed. So I watch videos for 5 hours. So I watch 5 hours of videos. That's the amount of preparation that I put into this. So here's the question I have for you guys. Myth, he's minimalizing. He's doing the detective thing. I like we called him. If I'm prepping, if I'm prepping that much for the stream, do you unironically think a $5 a month subscription is justifiable? If I prep that much for this stream, I would literally be like, you better give me $25 fucking dollars. Every single person needs to be tier 3 sub to me right now. Hasan, you're so great and you would never do this. This is the ego up technique. Fuck! I've turned this fucking community into a bunch of detectives. I can't get nothing by them. Well, they got me. They fucking got me.
Time to think about what we talked about.
Do you have any more? Do you have any more to smoke?
Not yet.
Well, go ahead and smoke for a minute. Let us go out here and talk. Once you get your head together, we'll give you one more opportunity to think about what I just said. Okay?
I do think it's kind of cool that you guys think I like put one, that much effort into the stream, and two, like that just means that, like, you know, that's the kind of content that you're getting from me. Like, I love that. You know, it's pretty cool. I think some of you actually think that now. Just saying. I like that. This dude is just blasting through bogues, dude. Chain smoking.
Alright. I'll ask you again. Where's she at?
I can't help you.
Okay, I want you to understand too, and you probably already know this, you're not leaving this room, Jack.
I understand that.
And you understand that it's probably going to be quite a while that you're going to spend in jail. Just because we don't have a body doesn't mean that we're not going to be able to charge you with anything.
I understand
I've got
that.
enough evidence against you. But, go ahead.
Tony, there's an arrest warrant in that deal signed by a judge, and it's for murder. And judges don't sign that unless there's probable cause. And to be fair to you, okay, to be fair to you,
a fucking cold-blooded child sexual assaulter / murderer. Let me be fair to you one more time as you're blasting cigarette smoke in my face.
you're not going anywhere. You're being charged with murder. And here's the deal I want you to remember. Right now, we're interviewing every one of your family members. You can probably hear it in the next room. We're already at your house.
Bro,
We will have back.
this guy is just trying to die before he goes to prison, okay? Like, that's the technique. He's just trying to fucking die from smoking too much. If that's even, like, you know, outside of lung cancer. I don't know if you can do that, but that's what he's trying.
Backhoes, ground penetrating sonar, cadaver dogs, the whole 9 yards.
We was laughing about that yesterday.
What's so funny about that?
That if y'all were to ever go in our backyard, well, I got dogs and cats and pets everywhere in that backyard. I don't know what the hell we was laughing about that. We was watching something on TV.
Like where you bury them?
Or animals, yeah.
Well,
So we're not gonna find, and this is your opportunity, because, I mean,
You ain't gonna find Kirsten Hatfield in my backyard.
we're on your property anyway.
No.
Where do I find her?
I don't know.
He is surprisingly maintaining composure that I've literally never fucking seen from a person who's caught so dead to rights. Like, usually the fucking criminals at some point buckle. And this guy's just fucking straight up blowing ciggies in their face going, I don't know. Never broke frame.
Did you black out when you took her somewhere and dumped her?
I didn't get her.
Who did?
well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna leave it with, you're that person that has no remorse, and that's the way the report's gonna read.
Yeah.
Because what I'm seeing from you is, you could care less if we ever find her, and
Yeah, I did.
you could care less.
Just put a cigarette out for me. Turn around for me. Put your hands on your back.
Dude, why do all cops literally have the same body? It's kind of wild. Like, I mean, they have the thumb. Like, you can actually tell how many years a cop has been on the force by looking at, like, how big their gut has gotten. And it's always, like, the same type of big. It's, like, stocky fat. You know what I mean? I don't get it. Like, we've watched so many of these fucking coffees. What? Oh my God. What is wrong with my brain today? We watched so many of these coffee and donuts. We've watched so many of these videos. Okay. Oh, fuck. What is wrong with me, dude? We watched so many of these videos, and, like, they always look the same. I was gonna say movies.
Relax. You're under arrest for murder. Kidnapped Kirsten Hatfield.
Anthony Palma did not show much emotion this afternoon as that guilty verdict was read. This verdict comes more than 2 decades after Kirsten Hatfield went missing from her Midwest City home on May 14, 1997. Hatfield's body has never been found, but the prosecution argued Palma abducted and murdered the little girl. A key piece of evidence throughout this trial was a pair of Kirsten's panties found in the family's backyard. Those panties and the windowsill on the girl's bedroom had blood on them, and the DNA was a match to Palma. When the verdict was read, Kirsten's mother, Shannon, and her sister's Faith broke down in tears, and they spoke with us just minutes after Palma was led away.
I can't explain it, but we are just floored by this miracle, and we are so...
Chatter, I wonder that too. Why do they keep saying panties and not underwear? Like, am I weird for thinking that? Because I was like weirded out by it too, especially when it's like, aren't panties like somewhat sexualized? Or, I mean, I don't know. English is, maybe it's an ESL thing, but I always thought that like panties were like a relatively sexual term, whereas like underwear is like the more medical way of describing it. You know what I mean? Undergarments. You can say undergarments. You can say underwear. Especially because, like, it's a little girl. Why aren't you saying, like, underwear? Maybe it's a southern thing. I don't know.
thankful. It puts our hope back into the criminal justice system. Thank you, Jesus. Yes. Thank you, Jesus, and thank you, everybody here.
Now, Palma will be back again in court here sometime next month to learn his sentence.
The man who murdered.
Like if you had friends and they referred to their like daughter's underwear as panties, like I would be so sus. Be like, what the fuck? Why did you say it like that? You fucking weirdo. Chill.
Murdered an 8-year-old child 2 decades ago will serve life in prison for her death.
Anthony Palma surprised the court when he waived his right to appeal his conviction. Kirsten Hatfield's family tells News 9 crime tracker Jennifer Pierce there's still one mystery that needs.
Wait, if he waived his right to appeal, then why the fuck wouldn't he like say where the body is?
To be solved. Jen?
That's right, Bobby. Kirsten Hatfield's family was not only shocked but relieved when Anthony Palma waived his appeal rights. They think it's only a matter of time before he reveals where he buried their little girl 20 years ago. 58-year-old Anthony Palma made his final court appearance. He listened as the judge told him he will serve life in prison without the possibility of parole. Palma also waived his right to appeal his conviction. Prosecutors say it's an unusual move.
For what it's worth, I appreciate him doing that because this gives some finality to the family. Don't use the word closure because there's no such thing as closure. They still walked out of these doors with some questions that need to be answered.
A question only this convicted murderer can answer. They want to know where 8-year-old Kirsten Hatfield's body is buried. She disappeared from her Midwest City home 20 years ago. Hatfield's sister and mother looked Palma in the eye in court as they read victim testimonies. They both told Palma they forgive him, but want him to lead authorities to their loved one's body.
Obviously, we've been praying for years, but we've been writing prayers down, and we hope that he's able to get them at some point and read them, but just so he can see how serious we are.
Palma remained quiet as he was led back to jail. He will be transferred to DOC custody and live.
Why are you doing all the ones about pedos? Why does that make you uncomfortable that pedophiles seeing justice make you uncomfortable?
The remainder of his life in prison.
I hope that that will bring him to a place of telling us so we can lay her to rest.